Good evening and welcome to our second session on the topic Understanding and Self-Improvement of Leadership. Do you remember what we discussed in the last session and what we learned?
Yes,
What was that?
the definition of leadership.
Okay, thank you. That's great. We discussed definition of leadership. Leadership mostly means influencing people to achieve goal. Okay. So in this second session, we shall discuss attributes that shape leadership ability of a person. The objective of this topic, of this discussion, is to understand the dynamics of leadership and identify the strength and weakness of a leadership so that we can improve our own leadership and other people's leadership. So in today's session, I'll discuss 6 attributes of leadership, their definition, there will be some examples, and there will be their function, how they influence a person, these attributes, leadership ability. So after discussion, you will have some time, a few minutes to study this table of leadership attributes. Then I'll listen from you how you define the attributes and how you describe the functions. Then you will have some feedback on that one, on your learning, and then we will have future point that what will be the next session. Okay, let's start. There are 6 attributes of leadership, okay? These are quality, skill, attitudes, values, emotional intelligence, discipline, and our habits. So many of the things, all of the words are familiar to us, but maybe we are not aware of the definition. So I'll discuss mostly quality, okay? Quality are mostly faith and emotions that prompts us to do something. For example, if I give you one example, patriotism. If we have patriotism, we try to do something for our country, okay? So that gives us motivation. If we love our parents, then we want to do something for them, okay? Skill mostly related with work, okay? We can have one skill against every bird. So if we can do any work to the satisfaction of our customer, then we have skill. For example, if we can communicate messages very well, sell product or marketing, then that is our skill. Without skill, we cannot do anything. So our performance mostly depends on the skill, and our motivation also comes from skill. Attitude, we know, positive attitude, negative attitude, and there is also neutral attitude. Attitude, it is said, attitude determines the altitude, how far we can go. So from attitude keeps us going, determines our direction. Values, so this is our priority, okay? Values are principles or standards of behavior. Some example we can say justice, family first, or integrity, excellence, whenever these are the things. So values keeps us on right track. If we lose track, then we can come back on the track. If we have the values, predefined values, if we don't have, then we might lose the path as a leader. Emotional intelligence, okay? Simply we can say this is ability to understand our own emotion and understand other people's emotion and act accordingly. So for example, empathy. So function is emotional intelligence helps us to maintain good relationship with people around us. Without that, we cannot build relationship or maintain relationship. Another important thing, attributes that define the leadership. It is said, there is a saying that if you want to know how good a person as a leader, look at his daily life, how disciplined is his daily life. Okay. So discipline, control, gained by enforcing obedience, orderly or prescribed conduct or pattern of behavior. For example, sleeping and waking up at the same time daily, having exercise, having healthy foods. These are habits. This helps maintain consistency in performance, behavior, and time management. So these are the 6 important attitudes I have described briefly, but these are very important to understand the dynamics of leadership and identify weakness. So I'll give few minutes time for you to study this one. Then you will define some attributes and their functions. Okay. So you have 4 minutes to study. You can read on the screen or on your mobile. And if you need any clarification, anything, you can ask question. So you have 4 minutes. If you want more examples, then so quality is, for example, there is faith in God. If someone has faith in God, his behavior will be different. For example, that if someone believes in God and God will punish if he does any injustice. So that leader will not go for any unjust measures. He or she will always be careful of whether he is ensuring justice or not. But if someone does not have, if a leader does not have that faith or weak faith, then he will not bother about that one. So this way, this is the quality. So if, or he might try to do something good to please the God. So this way, faith in God motivate him to do something or refrain from some bad things. I think I have explained that one. Mahmoud Ahmed, do you have any questions?
The explanations were very clear.
Okay. So you have 1 more minute. Okay, time is up. Now, Mahmoud Ahmed, can you define a few of the attributes and their functions, describe their functions?
Sure. One attribute that shapes leadership ability is quality, and its definition is faith and emotions that prompt us to do something. Its function is to motivate us.
Okay.
And for skill, it's being able to do specific work work to the satisfaction of the customer, and its function is to make us work harder and motivate us to a certain extent.
Any other you liked attributes? So that's good. Dr. Mohsina Haq.
Okay, one of the attributes is discipline or habits.
Okay.
So the definition is control gained by enforcing obedience of order, and also orderly or prescribed conduct or pattern or behavior, like a daily life behavior. So one example, as you said, sleeping behavior, like what time the leader is waking up, whether he is maintaining that every day or not. That means any type of good habit that is practiced or maintained all the time, like a consistency.
Okay, that's good. Within short time you have learned the attributes well. I liked the way you described and memorized the function. But I noticed you have to, you miss some attributes. So as a result, if you don't know all these attributes, their functions very clearly, so it will be difficult to understand the dynamics and identify the weakness and strength of leadership of a person or even ourselves. So my suggestion is that you give very much importance to this table, memorize, understand the definition and functions, remember that one well, so it will help you to diagnose weakness of leadership in any person, and then accordingly you can suggest, or we can do diagnosis of ourselves. If we see if someone is not motivated, then we can easily identify where is the problem. Actually there is problem in the quality. Sometimes motivation, we lose motivation if we don't have skill. If we don't know how to do something, then we can move. So this is the very important point. Okay, so from today's session we have learned at least become aware that there is 6 attributes of leadership. We need to know the definition and function of these attributes. And do you think you have a good understanding of 6 attributes of leadership?
Yes.
Okay, so now you have to memorize that one. Okay, so we had good discussion on this topic. Next time we have understood our dynamics, weakness, and strength of leadership. Next time we shall discuss. Actually, we identify our level of leadership according to the questionnaire of John C. Maxwell. He described 5 levels of leadership. So we'll see in which level we are in the leadership ladder, from if we are at the beginning level or we are at the top level. So that will, if we can determine our level of leadership, then we can easily improve our leadership, and we also learn how to move from one level to another. If we are in level 1, how we can move in level 2 or level 3, level 4, and ultimately level 5. Thank you for your attendance and patience learning. With that, we conclude our second session. We'll see you in the third session.
Thank you.